the MAC title game. And this is Ohio against Toledo on Saturday at noon. Toledo, just a 1.5 point favorite. The total sitting at 55. And this is a difficult game to handicap. Both quarterbacks are banged up. Maple Missile out for the season. DeQuan Finn banged up and also ineffective. Do we get Tucker Gleason again? That's a question coming into it. CA Bangura time, 100%. He's really in my opinion, the best situation for Ohio to win the football game. They got to turn around, hand him the ball. His last 3 games, 139 total yards per game, 5 touchdowns. Is he going to be running into loaded boxes all game? I'm not sure. But what I do know for sure is that Toledo's below average against the run, and they're 108th in explosive runs allowed. So in terms of my lean here, I think over 55 is probably my play. I also think it's worth noting that Ohio's had a little bit of extended time to get more reps for CJ Harris, their dual threat quarterback who's playing in Rourke's stead. He gives them more on the ground than Rourke does. Obviously, he's a little bit raw as a passer, but I do think this coaching staff has had time to go ahead and put together a good game plan. I think they're going to be able to score in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. A lot of the MAC games in the last few years have been high-scoring for the title game, so I'm going to stick with that. Obviously, you're playing indoors, weather not a concern, and that's not been the case for MACtion throughout November, whether it's been freak snowstorms or bitter cold or winds. Perfect conditions indoor here, so I'm going to go over 55 as my play. What are your thoughts on the Mid-American Conference Championship game?
Yeah, you mentioned it. It's a very hard game to handicap given the uncertainty at quarterback. I do actually like Toledo in this spot. I kind of like what I've seen from Tucker Gleason. You've mentioned it. Finn's been up and down, and Gleason I think has been pretty good in relief. You know, he's not as dynamic as Finn, but we saw him. You know, he popped off for 100 yards on the ground in one of those games. And then, you know, on Ohio's side, yeah, CJ Harris is definitely more mobile than Rourke, but I think there's a much bigger drop off between Rourke and Harris than there is between Finn and Gleason. You know, Rourke is the highest graded quarterback in the country, according to Pro Football Focus. He's been awesome this year. He's got to be transferring to a Power 5 school. You know, he has, you know, future Big Ten quarterback written all over him. But I don't totally agree with you, as I'm a little higher on the Toledo defense, especially against the run. They definitely give up explosiveness on the ground. That has been their issue, but they're 14th in success rate. So they have gotten the job done on a play-to-play basis. And while they do give up those big plays, Ohio is 104th in the country in rushing explosiveness. All of Ohio's big plays has come through the air with Rourke, which they just don't have. Ohio's 104th in explosiveness on the ground and 101st in success rate. So I think they're going to have to rely on the run a ton. And I think that kind of plays into what Toledo wants them to do. And, you know, with so much uncertainty on offense for both teams, I'm kind of looking at the defenses here. The Bobcats are 94th in defensive success rate. Toledo's 17th. I think the Rockets have the best defense in the MAC. We've kind of said that all year. And before the season, I said it. You know, I said this was Toledo's year. I'm on them plus 380 to win the MAC from preseason. I'm right. I'm letting it ride. I think hedging is for cowards. I said they were the best team before the year. That's why I bet them. Why would I back off that now? I've had that in my pocket all year. I'm not going to go ahead and give it away now that I've made it here. I'll talk more throughout I go. Hedging is for cowards. Defense wins championships. I'm back in Toledo. And even if I didn't have that ticket in my pocket, I still like the 1.5. I just think they're the best team in the MAC. They've been all year. I'm going to ride with them.